Hey team, this training is called your Marketing Language Bank. And here we're going to help you create your evergreen messaging building blocks because words do in fact have power. Now we are moving on to the second overall module called Craft Compelling Message, and your Marketing Language Bank and the next couple of trainings will help you do exactly that. Craft your compelling message. So, boom, you are here. Let's look at a typical day. You need to say something, you need to send something, you need to write something. Maybe it's time for an email, maybe it's a prospect inquiry, maybe you have a blog post that you'd like to write, and there you are, yet again, staring at a blank page. Blah! Constantly wondering, what do I say? What do I send? What do I write about? How do I talk about the urgent, pervasive, expensive problems that I solve? How do I position myself in writing and in words so that people get it, need it, and want it? And this frustration of constantly facing a blank page ends right now. Woohoo! So, super exciting. Let's talk about how to end that frustration. The problem is that too often you feel that you're cobbling together your messaging and you look like this crazy VW bug jalopy where everything is coming from someplace else and it's just this kind of disorganized hodgepodge of a mess. You're never sure what to say or how to say it to win attention, and too often folks misunderstand or assume or simply don't get what you do. And that is the problem that with an effective Marketing Language Bank as part of your compelling messaging, we are going to nail that once and for all. So think about the possibilities if, like Henry Ford's assembly line, we put your compelling message on an assembly line with interchangeable parts. So it's always easy to put together exactly what you want to say. The articulation and the distinction now start to take care of themselves because you've done the hard work once and you can continually reuse, recycle, repurpose, and redeploy that messaging so that it starts to bring you clients. All right, let's talk about how to get this started. Everything with your Marketing Language Bank gets 10 times easier when you zero in on exactly who you're talking to. The who is 80% of the answer. So let's go through a quick example. Let's say we have 3 completely different types of prospects, and we're just going to go through them one at a time. This is a 50-something-year-old independent solo consultant, so she's our person. This other guy here is a 50-something-year-old bank CEO, and here we have a 20-something-year-old technology startup founder. Now, based on what you do and based on some of the decisions that you're going to make, one of these people is your person, or whatever your choices are that you're looking at. And when you start to put together marketing language, it is obvious that the solo consultant on the left is going to respond to very different marketing language than the bank CEO in the middle. And they're both going to respond very differently to a given piece of marketing language than the technology startup founder on the right. So once you've made the decision of who we're talking to, everything else in your articulation and distinction toolkit becomes much easier to decide and much easier to deploy. So we are going to do this. This? No, sorry, this. Still get the left-right thing wrong sometimes. This way. Your 6 buyer persona questions. The 6 buyer persona questions are going to help you zero in on that exact who, and then what kind of messaging, as we go through the next couple of trainings, what kind of messaging is going to resonate with them. So let's unpack the 6 questions that are on your worksheet, and then this is the answers to these are how you're going to complete the worksheet. So question number 1, just like we talked about bank CEO, tech startup founder, and solo consultant, think about for the people that you really want to work with, for those best fit clients that we talked about earlier, what are their job titles? What are their industries? What are their affiliations? What are their traits? What problems do they have? and what solutions do they seek? And this is best to capture in their own words. And that's where your listening campaign came into play. Where have they looked previously to solve these problems? Or what else have they tried to solve the same exact problems or achieve the same exact outcomes? Why haven't those solutions worked for them? Because obviously if those solutions did work for them, they wouldn't still be looking. They still wouldn't be out there seeking services like yours. What do they hate, absolutely hate, about your category of product or service or your entire industry? So if you think about this question, this is how we are going to decommoditize and reposition you as one of the good guys or the good gals in your industry so that you are separating yourself from all of those things that they hate or fear or mistrust. Finally, given the answers to questions 1 through 5, how can you position yourself as the at last solution? How are you unlike? How are you cooler, better, faster, smarter than some of these competing and alternative answers that they might have looked to previously? So I want you to make this exercise easy. First way to make it easy is refer to all of your great research and sound bites from your listening campaign. So I'm guessing you probably have 70 or 80% of these answers. We're just going to reformulate and massage and go a little bit deeper on them with your 6 buyer persona questions. I also would love you to recall past prospect and client conversations, because remember, this is in their own words. What's the articulation and distinction around the problem that you solve or the outcomes that you create? And please, once again, just like with your verbal business card, remember to use kitchen table English. Good news, you do not need to write a novel. This is more of an idea capture exercise. So what are we after here? On the worksheet, you're capturing headlines, bullets, building blocks, sound bites, keywords, short phrases. You do not need to write a big longhand answer to any of these 6 questions. We're here to capture nuggets. We're here to capture the essence of what your folks are going through so that when we go to create this repository of marketing language, it's going to immediately be recognizable by them and it will immediately resonate with them. So here's another way to think about this. As you start to work on your 6 buyer persona questions, imagine that you just finished working with a client and they say, oh my gosh, this was so great. This was so amazing. You know what? I know you have a flight at 9 o'clock. Let's just run downstairs to the bar and have a drink to celebrate. This was such a fantastic training day. This was such a fantastic coaching day for the team. That was such a fantastic seminar or presentation. We'd love to take you out for a drink. Now, they're at the bar, 6 o'clock, literally with their head in their hands, and they're shaking their head. And they're saying, I am so glad that we decided to bring you in because X was making me crazy. Whatever they fill in at that 6 o'clock, head in the hands at the bar conversation, whatever they say about why they're so happy that they brought you in to fix this problem or generate this outcome, it's that kind of kitchen table, plain English, visceral, emotional response that we're after. So when you do your 6 buyer persona questions and the next couple of trainings also, the mantra here for create a compelling message is you only need to work hard once. You only need to work hard once, and then all of these building blocks in your marketing language bank becomes a permanent asset in your business, so you're never facing that blank page ever again. Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be great? That is your mission. That is your purpose. That is your 6 buyer persona questions. Please complete that worksheet, and we'll see you in the next training.